Hey y'all, welcome back to InDFlix. Episode 2 of the Traitors Season 4 is where the game officially turns personal. Episode 1 planted suspicion, while Episode 2 waters it. And now, paranoia isn't theoretical, it's emotional. This is the episode where players stop asking who could be a traitor and start asking why someone would betray them. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to like, subscribe for more recaps. Let's get into it. So remember, we have our three traders: Rob from Love Island, Lisa Rinna from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and Candace from Real Housewives of Potomac. And then we also still don't know who our secret trader is. So there is a total of 4 traders, and our episode picks up again where the 3 of them are, speaking on who to murder from the short list. Since this is the first murder, I feel like the people that are on this short list isn't really hard to decide. Remember, it's 4, Rob being one of them, so that's an automatic no. I don't think any person at this point in the game, whoever you eliminate, is going to have people looking at you like, could it be you? Could it be you? Because this is the first, it's the first time. This is the first night that they're going through this whole murder situation. There aren't like specific alliances being called out or being shown or seen. So they really had, I feel like, an easy job this go around. Now, when you are playing trailers, the biggest thing, and I'm probably going to say it on almost every recap, the biggest thing that you can mess up on is your mouth. When you say too much, it can get you in trouble because people are going to dissect every word, every action behind that word, and pin that of, oh, could they be a faithful because they said X, Y, and Z? It's just, you really have to pay attention and be careful of what and how you say things. And the contestants now, if they watched prior seasons, they will know that. So like the morning of their breakfast, they brought up the whole kitchen situation where Portia confronted Michael about what Candace had told her. And Portia just thought that was like light messiness, but others don't. Like, everybody else doesn't have that same mindset. Like, if you watch the Housewives franchise on Bravo. So it's just tricky. Like, you just have to be careful how you do things and what you say and how you move. Case in point, Jam mentioned to Rob C that he thought he was going to be the one murdered last night. And he may not mean anything behind it. Of course, we know as the viewers, we know he's not a traitor, but they don't know. So you saying something like that has eyes on you. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, why would he be murdered? Like, are you gearing up to murder him? You just have to be careful. Sometimes it's best when playing this game. Like, yes, you want to share your strategic thoughts, but do that with the people you trust. Like, don't try not to do it in an open setting. Like, there are going to be some things where you might think it, but you don't necessarily have to say it. Keep it to yourself. Because, again, you never know. You don't know who the traitor is. So you're saying it to one person thinking it may be nothing. But that person, like Candace was in this situation, is very much a traitor. And they can utilize that. All in all, they chose to murder Ian, who was the winner of Big Brother 14, on their first, I guess, murder decision. And again, I don't think it shook anything up in the game. Maybe the only thing I could think of is because he is a game player, because it looks like they're splitting groups. So we have housewives, we have game players, I guess, that's been on Big Brother, Survivor, and so forth. I don't know what we call the other ones, but I guess that's a big hit for his group of people. Because with game players, and I've watched it because I watch a lot of competitive reality TV shows, you never want to look like or seem like you're big dog, right? So the more you take out of that particular group, that's just going to point eyes to someone else in that group. But yeah, Ian's out of here. Again, I don't think he really left a big imprint so far in the show. Again, goes back to me saying, watch what you say. Because Tiffany gave a whole entire speech about how, she was upset and she didn't want this for him. It was just too much. Like literally stopped everybody from speaking to make this announcement about Ian. And what does that do? It paints a target. Now you want the eyes on you. You want the spotlight. You got it. And now everybody's going to be looking at you like, one, are you saying this because, okay, this is genuine feelings? Or two, are you saying this out of guilt? And you're trying to make it seem like you're really hurt when you probably are the one that murdered him. So that's what I'm saying. You just have to be careful. Not everything has to be said. You just have to be careful, especially when you're in front of everyone, which leads into the next thing that happened literally the same morning. Y'all, why did Portia Williams say out her mouth that she killed Ian? Why? And granted, we all know that she didn't. But why was she in front of these people? She's talking and says, "Yeah, I murdered Ian." No, you didn't. You weren't even close. So I don't even know. Like, okay, yes, maybe it's a slip up, but how do you even slip that up? Because she had no parts in any of it. Unless the only thing I could assume is maybe she could be the secret traitor in this all, and that's how she slipped up. But even so, the three are the ones who decide who are murdered. So I really don't. Maybe someone explain it to me in the comments. I don't know how you can mess that up. How you can, you're not part of any deciding factor on who goes home and still wind up saying the words, "I murdered Ian." That makes no sense. You know what? Actually, now that I'm talking about it and thinking about it, maybe I don't remember from the last episode, and maybe someone can, help me out. But maybe her team put the casket in Ian's graveyard or gravesite. And maybe that's what she meant about, murdering him, because her team was a part of him being up for murder to begin with. That's the only thing I can think of to rationalize it. And it sucks that she couldn't rationalize it that way or even catch what she said, because now Ron hit the comedian, his radars is high, like high on Portia because she said those words so loosely. And then what makes matters even worse with Portia, in another group setting, she mentions that there are 4 traitors. What? Portia. This is what I don't get, right? Portia is cool with Phaedra. Phaedra, I believe, made it to the end last season. She ain't give you no speaker's notes, nothing on how to play this game. Because you are doing the complete opposite. Like, especially if you're a faithful and that's why I'm trying to give her a benefit out, because maybe she's going off of past seasons, and past seasons is generally 3 people, and now you got this secret person, but still you just don't know. And in this game or in this show, it is going to be a detriment when you speak on things you do not know. And that's what's happening. Because again, Ron's radar is high. Now you done gave this man 2 reasons on why you possibly could be a traitor. So what does any other person do when they feel like they have evidence against someone? They're going to let their closest allies know. And it looks like in this case, Ron is now aligning himself with not only Michael, but also Mama Donna. So it's finna be a mess. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. The position that Ron is in would have been the perfect position for someone who is a traitor, because then you'll have someone in your back pocket in the event you need to use that. But word of mouth, it goes far. So this is not looking good for Portia. She done messed up twice in one day around the same person. Child, like what I say earlier, you have to watch what you say and what you say around people. So let's get into this challenge where they had to push three carriages through this path all the way back to the castle. They have three different stops where they can collect money bags, and then they also have the option to, if they find it and locate it in the forest, these I guess medallions or coins, which allows you to go into one of the carriages. If you're in one of the carriages by the end of the game, you are safe from being murdered. So there was a lot of people that had strategic moves during this. There were also a lot of people I was seeing like Monet Exchange. And who else gave up their medallion? Rob gave his medallion up. Steven, he gave his little coin up too. Because they just felt like there was no need. Like they're bigger people and they were giving it to, the women or whatever. But that wasn't everybody's case. So Rob winds up giving one of his coins to Jam Jam. Jam Jam then decides to take it amongst himself to take off the smallest woman on the carriage and take her place instead to be carried to the castle and to remain safe from being murdered. And it sucks because there are eyes looking at Jam Jam as well. Ever since he made that comment at the breakfast, this doesn't make it look any better, you know? Because it's like, of course, a traitor will want to be in the chairs so there's more people that could be up for, murder. So this didn't help his case. And also, you're a big guy. Like, you could be helping pushing these carriages, too. So it wasn't a good look for him to the other contestants. Colton was another big man that also took someone off of the carriage too, and he kind of was very strategic about it. He knew that was his plan to begin with. So he wound up kicking off Lisa Rinna, who is one of our traders, off her carriage so he could sit in. So now you got these two big men in carriages that they had to lug through. And mind you, this challenge is a time challenge. So they had to get it done within a time frame. So you would think, because both of them are faithfuls, let me not sit in these chairs so I can make sure we can win the challenge to add more money into the pile. And Colton, I don't even think you're on anybody's radar. So there really was no reason for him to have to feel the need to go for safety. So we're at our first roundtable for banishment, and we focus on three people. First, Miss Donna. Most of the people in the house just feel like she's just too calm. She's not trying to form any alliances. She's her face is just stone cold. She's not giving anything, and I feel like that is good reason because in this game, your biggest or the biggest way that you can get through is having those social relationships, having people that are going to back you up. And yes, she was, kind of rocking with Ron and Michael, but Ron and Michael ain't enough. And especially Michael, because Michael is he's too loud. Like you to play this game, I feel like you need to be in every social group. Just a small hand in every social group. Don't make it so obvious that you're doing that, but something. But Miss Donna ain't giving nothing. So a lot of people are just looking at her, sideways. And she does, vocalize like, hey, that's just not who I am. I don't, really bang with that many people. So this is not the right show because you have to do that. You have to step outside of what you're used to in order to get far. So she was one of the names that was mentioned and written down a lot tonight. Portia, of course, was another name. We knew this was coming, especially with Ron collecting his evidence on why it should be her. The only thing I was really disappointed in this moment, I don't feel like Portia went hard for herself. She did say, when he was telling her what came out her mouth, she did say, she misspoke. But I felt like she should have fought for herself more. I don't feel like she did. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to say she gave up. Um, and she could be in the mindset like, I ain't really got to prove nothing to you. Like, I know I'm not, but you do, because these people don't know you, and this is a part of the game. Anybody could be misleading and lying and acting a different way. So I do wish that Portia had more of an argument for him in that moment, or had some form of explanation on why she said those things. And then we have Michael as another name. And I genuinely do not think um people feel like he is a traitor, but like I said earlier in this episode, watch what you say. And he came straight out his mouth and said the same thing, almost the same thing Portia said. I murdered Ian. Literally. Like, and he's saying this at the round table. So of course everybody's looking at him like, was that a confession? But I also feel like people are like, he is just way too much to be a traitor. And strategically for me, what I'll be thinking, like, I'm going to be too much for people to have that thought about me. And I really am the traitor. But we all know Michael isn't. But he definitely dug his hole with the votes for making that comment. But that's not really what was annoying. It was what happened after that. So Ron is over here, because Ron and Michael are in some alliance, um, piggybacking off of what Michael just messed up and said, saying that, he misspoke, da da da. But then why is that grace not also given to Portia? And it was literally the same situation. Literally the same exact situation. So that was one thing I just I twisted my face at. And I'm glad Monet Exchange spoke up and said something. Candace also spoke to who Portia is and stuff like that. I'm glad that happened, because Ron is really out for Portia. And he kept telling everybody, look, stick with me with these votes. Stick with me with these votes, because he is just so confident in all the evidence that he was able to gather. And all that evidence led to all the votes majority of the votes leading to Portia. Um, and she was banished for, the rest of the season, which sucks. Like, I really didn't want Portia to be the first banishment. And, she announces that she's a faithful. And then, of course, everybody's like, oh, my God, I knew it. I knew it. If you knew it, you wouldn't have voted for her. So it sucks. It sucks. And Ron, you were so confident, and now you just gonna have everybody looking at you like, dang, did you manipulate us? So now, my friend, you have a lot of work to do, because you picking and choosing. Michael did the same thing Portia did, but you just swore up and down Portia had to be a traitor. So the episode doesn't end there. We learn from the traitors, they get a letter that they actually have to commit their murder, wide open in front of everybody. So I like the little tricks. It keeps you up. It keeps you watching to see how they're gonna work this out. There were some cards behind a picture frame, and they had to find a way to sneak and get it, because the secret trader already put in their short list within those cards, and then they will choose who they're gonna murder, and they burn that name in the fire and keep it a day. So it's crazy. I know one thing. I'm glad Rob took kind of lead in this, because Lisa, Rinna, and Candace doing it, it wasn't gonna work out. So to distract everybody else, Candace takes the house on a Congo line. And this was the dumbest the dumbest option that she could have did. Because I ain't gonna lie, why are we sitting here doing a Congo line out of nowhere in the middle of the night? Like, that automatically would have set an alarm in me, like, something's going on. Like, that's not just something you just randomly do. And it's no music. Like, come on. And Rob C even called it. He pulled Tiffany to the side and said, like, look, I feel like something's happening. And he's right. It was definitely something happening. And that man was paranoid. He was trying to stay far away from all that everybody had going on during this little Congo line. The best part of the Congo line was Miss Donna. I'm glad we were able to see that side of her. So the Congo line worked. Rob was able to get the cars from the picture, on the picture, and him and Lisa were acting like they were playing a chess game, basically, so they could discuss because they have to have this decision and conversation made tonight before everything. So they're discussing. He lets her know who he thinks that they should murder, and which card they should decide to place. But it was really awkward because they weren't alone. And mind you, they're in a room full of people while they're having this conversation, but they're not alone. Tara was sitting right there. So they literally had to talk about the game. But Rob, that's what I said this in my last episode. I'm happy Rob is a traitor. He's able to kind of lead the ship in this. Because it was smooth. Like she didn't hear nothing. Nobody in that room heard anything. The way that he was able to, you know, provide the options to Lisa. Now, Candace wasn't a part of the decision making with both Rob and Lisa. Instead, she was in the kitchen eating Skittles and offering to Rob. And again, be careful what you say around because then Rob mentioned he felt like something was happening that night. It seemed off. And of course Candace knows what he's talking about. Like she even offered candy to him. He didn't want to take it because he was paranoid that that may be, his ticket out of there. He might be getting murdered live. And he said that to Candace too. So it's never a good thing to really express how you think and feel. Because the person you're very much doing that with could be the traitor. And in this case for Rob, it was. Well, as the night ends, Rob and Lisa, did what they needed to do. They burnt the card of who they wanted to murder for the night. Candace wasn't a part of the decision because she was just not around at the time. And, they have to be discreet. Everybody's starting to move around to get ready for bed. So they had to get it over with. So they made their second murder choice. That's my recap of the Traitors US Season 4, Episode 2. Let me know, who do you think is quietly running this game? Who do you trust the least right now? And whether you think the faithfuls are already doomed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to InDFlix because Episode 3 is where this season really starts to unravel. Until next time, trust no one.